What's going on, y'all? Jeff coming at you. On this episode of Molinelli Garage, we backtrack, sell a whole bunch of cars, and buy Canada's cheapest Mustang Cobra. So I got rid of the Iraqi taxi. Surprise, surprise. I think I'm up to probably 150 cars now I've owned in my lifetime. Sort of the joys of ADHD. You get bored, you move on, and you just keep rocking and rolling. And some cars pop up. That 81 Malibu was a sweet, sweet car. But as soon as this Cobra popped up, I really just couldn't pass up the chance. So yes, it's a true 1996 SVT Cobra. Don't mind the V6 wheels. Don't mind the donuts in the back. I do have a set of 17s with drag slicks for this car. These were just rollers to get this home. So there we got some good old Cobra badges right there. And there is the 4.6 liter 4-valve 4V32 valve dual overhead cam Cobra engine. But it may look a little different to anybody who's used to dealing with Cobras. That is not a Cobra intake on there. So a little bit of a backstory. This was my friend's car. It was a 5-speed car. There's no shifter in the car. It has 102,000 original kilometers. I am the third owner. Interior is in pretty good shape. I don't know if those gauges give anything away, especially that one. Has a 5-point harness, which is not really done correctly. It's just bolted to the rear seatbelt area. Leather is really stiff and dried out, but I got some stuff that will bring that right back around. Okay, so I said Canada's cheapest Cobra, right? 100,000 kilometers, 3 owners. Well, that finger didn't go up there. There we go. 3 owners. I picked this up for $2,200. The backstory on it was my friend's car. Used to be a Ken Bell supercharged car. That's why the boost gauge is there. Was a Ken Bell 4.6 liter. I don't remember what size the supercharger was, but it made something like 397 rear wheel horsepower on the dyno 6 years ago, and it had a T45 5-speed, which these SN95s came with. So it was 2018. So that's 7 years ago. My friend came to me and he said, hey, listen, I don't want to do a supercharged car anymore. I want to turbo this thing and I want to go drag racing. So we went over to his house, we put this car on jack stands, and we took the top end of the motor off, the Ken Bell supercharger off, and we pulled the T45 out. He sold all those parts to fund the new build, and everything just sort of fell apart. Car sat on jack stands for 6 years after that. So, leads me to a couple of weeks ago, I ended up acquiring this car. And future game plans for this thing. Unfortunately, I don't have Cobra money. Cobra money is hard to come by. T45s are super expensive. So are Tremex 3650s or whatever they're called, or TKOs. Lots of money. And the T45s don't even really hold that good of power. What this car was making already, 300-400 horsepower, was already well past the limits of a T45. Then, like I said, the intake and the supercharger was off this car. Another thing, very expensive. Cobra intake manifolds can go for $1,000 on eBay before shipping for a nice one. So what I did, being the guy I am, keeping budget build, sort of like I did with my Fox, which was really popular on my channel. Now we're doing budget build Cobra, which is going to upset a lot of people, but I don't care. I don't have money, but I do want to drive this car. So that is a Lincoln Mark 8 intake manifold. I was able to get that for $100, and that is just the lower part of the plenum. Here's the top part right here. This mounts, once I can get it in my hand here without dropping it. This will mount not as high up, it falls in the plenums here, but I just painted my valve covers so it fits in those ports right down there. Throttle body mounts to that. So that was the first thing we did to solve that equation. So we got the Lincoln Mark 8 valve cover. It's going together quite smoothly. Okay, got everything all torqued down. And I'm telling you, this car, everything was missing. So like I've been just today putting the coolant crossover back in, the alternator back in. I'm pulling out the air conditioning because I can't find any of the air conditioning lines or condenser or anything that came with this car. So we're going to delete on the air conditioner. We're going to change this to a ribbed style belt. So I'm not going to do an AC delete bracket. I'm just going to take the belt, or take the AC compressor right out. This is going to go to a rib style, so the belt will come over this, under the tensioner, around the crank, so on and so forth. So we just end up going with a shorter belt. So Lincoln Mark 8, got that. I got the matching throttle body. Well, I got two actually. I got one from the Mark 8, and I also have one from the Cobra, and they're both twin screw, twin blade throttle bodies, and they're identical. So that'll tell you that not too much change from the Cobra to the Lincoln Mark 8. So we got that. But then the biggest thing is the transmission. We need to find some way to make this thing go vroom vroom. So what I did was I went back to the junkyard, found a 2008, 7 or 8, 2000 something, Crown Victoria with a 4R70W automatic. Yes, I know, hate me all you want. I can't afford manuals right now. I just don't have the money in the budget, and this car was already sitting for 8 years. Could have ended up being shamelessly parted out and stuff. So any way you look at it, I think I'm still saving it. So 4R70W is going in there. I went to Transgo Performance and I got a full manual valve body kit for it. So this automatic's still going to have some jam. So I got to do that. This weekend, there's still some pieces of the puzzle I'm missing. Since I'm going to an automatic tranny, this car originally had a 5-speed, so it had a flywheel and a clutch assembly. I need to find a flex plate and the proper torque converter to go with that flex plate. And I'm picking that up from a 5.4 F-150 Triton. So they sort of had the same bottom end, same mod motor, but they accepted an 8-bolt crankshaft, which the Cobra has, which the regular GT Mustangs and Crown Victoria didn't have. They had a 6-bolt crankshaft. So even though this is a really nice looking performance car, there's still some way to junkyard scrap this thing together and have a lot of fun and make people question why we did things. This car is in really good shape. The paint is gorgeous. It's dusty right now. It's been sitting. Got the Cobra hood. Turns out that this hood too is all fiberglass as well. It's got a couple of little cracks starting on it, but overall, really nice shape. It's got a full 2.5-inch MagnaFlow exhaust. It has, don't know if we're gonna be able to see, but it's got Ford Motorsport mid-length headers. Since this was a boosted car, it has, this is called an FMU. This is a Vortex style fuel management unit. So that was supplying the extra fuel pressure upon boost for the engine. We're going to keep it in the car anyways. It was already installed. I don't want to mess with it, and it doesn't change anything when the car doesn't see boost, and the car's not going to see boost anymore right now. And it also came with an MSD7 digital box, and that also helped retard the timing under boost. That is also going to go back in, and I think It was either that connector or one of these connectors down here. That's going to go back in there, because if I ever want to put nitrous in this thing, or find a Vortec blower to mount in, or go turbo, which I probably won't ever do because I really don't have the money for that. All those things will work just perfectly. Some other things I want to change on the car are these god-awful clear, I don't think they're the actual Cobra headlights. I think there's some type of cheap knockoff. So is this grill. I don't think they ever came with this billet style grill. And I don't believe that this is the front bumper. I've never seen these side fog lights on a Cobra. So yeah, those are things I want to change. I have different wheels and tires that were already on this car. I just ended up getting them powder coated. And yeah, we're just working through it one piece at a time. I got most parts to get this done. I believe I can say it. Canada's cheapest 1996 Ford Cobra Mustang. True SVT car. I think if we go to the back, she's all under tarp right now. Let's see. SVT goodness. I'm not used to having a car tarped or using like fender covers and stuff, but honestly, this is probably one of the cleanest cars I've ever bought. And I paid the money that I usually pay for my hunks of crap. $2,200, and I have maybe another $450 invested in between the intake, the upper and lower intake, Transco shift kit, Junkyard 4R70W. So there we go. Like, share, subscribe. Canada's cheapest Cobra build, budget style, automatic junkyard trans, manual shift kit, Lincoln Mark 8 intake. And yeah, let's see if we can go vroom this summer. Talk to you guys later.